And welcome back to another episode. We're so glad to have you here today. Today we're going to be talking about Tesla quality. Now, a few weeks ago we did an update video on looking at has quality improved on the Tesla Model Y. We went to a local service center and we had the chance to take a look at some recent arrivals. Now, at the time that we did that video, there were only a couple of cars available to look at. This time, however, there were over 20 cars on the lot that all had the sticker from when they were manufactured. So this is a really good opportunity to take a look at a good number of vehicles and not just a couple that were available at the time. Now, before I begin this video, I do want to state that the intention of this video is to help people who are ordering their Tesla Model Y or are waiting for delivery of their already ordered Tesla Model Y. This video is not intended to take a look at Tesla as a bad quality vehicle. However, for those of you waiting to take delivery or waiting to order, I think it's an important piece. What do these cars look like now? There's no secret that there are a number of quality issues on the initial vehicles. So with this opportunity, it gives people a really good understanding of how has quality improved over time. That is the sole purpose of this video and the previous video that we did. So that video posted a few weeks ago and some of you were upset and some of you appreciated it. A good number of people, however, did reach out and ask for an update to that video. Fortunately, like I said, there were 20 Tesla Model Ys on the lot that were all there ready for pre-delivery inspection. So this was a great chance to see a good number of vehicles. How has the quality improved? I also had the chance to see every color of the Tesla Model Y available, which is also exciting. So for those of you that order different colors, this is a great chance to see each of those colors and what that looks like. This video is also intended for people who are about to take delivery so that they can take a look and say, I need to look out for these things because this is the type of stuff that's showing up on current deliveries. So for those of you who don't like looking at quality issues in the Tesla Model Y, I totally get it. This might be a video you might want to skip. But for everybody else, I'm going to show you up close what these cars look like and what are some of the things that are present on the cars that you need to be looking out for when you take delivery. So the first car that we're looking at here was manufactured on August 22nd. It's a 43,000 VIN number. It's a long-range all-wheel drive, magnesium steel metallic with the induction wheels. It also has that gorgeous white interior. Looking at the side of this car, the panel gaps look great. The wheel trim, as we saw in the last update, looks great as well. So I think that we're seeing consistent results with this trim being addressed. As we move towards the back, you can see that this door is sticking out. It is a minor adjustment that should be able to fix this, so probably nothing too major. The lift gate looks good up top, but as we move down to the back, you can see it's slightly out of alignment here by the taillights. The taillights, of course, have this gap that's still present, but in this case, it looks a little bit better. But I'm pretty sure it's because the lift gate needs to be addressed. Looking here on the other side of the vehicle, we have that same issue with the rear door. It's sticking out here in the corner. And then finally here on the front of the car, the hood looks good. So this car actually looks like a really decent car, and hopefully when these cars are being delivered in this condition, the service center is doing the necessary adjustments before scheduling the delivery appointment. So now on to the next car. This car was built on August 27th. It is a 40,000 VIN number. It's a long-range all-wheel drive, blue with induction wheels, black interior. Again, we're seeing the panels look great, and the wheel trim looks great as well. However, this is an interesting thing. If you look here, there's a new issue that I'm starting to see. As you look at the bottom here by the rocker panel, for some reason the doors are set in more than the rocker panel. Now, either I haven't noticed this in the past or this is indeed a new issue. So let's see what else we find on this car. Again, we have this back door is sticking out. This one's quite a bit. The liftgate gap actually looks normal up top, but again, here at the back by the taillights, we need to pull this liftgate in a bit, and that gap is only going to increase by the taillights. On the passenger side now, look at this. I have never seen this before, whether it's a delivery or not, but I don't know what happened here, but you can see how bad this seal is. I don't know what happened. Whether this is a door issue or the pillar or some other unknown issue, I've literally never seen this before, not even reported by other people online. Also, if you look at this car, the top and bottom are almost like it's crooked. The alignment's really messed up on this particular car. The trim is also not lined up on the door. And so something's really not right with this car. I'm not sure what it is, but this one's probably one of the worst ones I've seen in a while. Here's some promising news though. As we move to the front of the car, this is the second car now that we're looking at that these corners by the headlights, these aren't sticking up or past the bumper anymore. So hopefully this has been addressed at the factory. So this is good news. All right, so now on to car number 3. This one was manufactured on August 14th with a 39,000 VIN number. This one's exciting because this is a stealth performance model, which is, these are so hard to find anymore, and it's because Tesla discontinued offering this. But what we're seeing in this car is obviously there's still some that are in the pipeline for production. So this is kind of exciting for somebody out there that's waiting. More on that later. The hood looks pretty good here. The A-pillar gaps are excellent. So again, here we see the rocker panel issue. I don't know what the problem is, but these doors are pulled in farther than that rocker panel once again. Passenger rear door to trim is pretty bad. You can see it's sticking out here. It's not lined up well. The rear wheel well trim is way out of whack on this car. I don't know what happened with this one. The tailgate is pretty bad set. I mean, you can see it's sticking up quite a bit. This is one of the larger gaps that I've seen on a tailgate in quite some time. So again, this needs to be pulled in. So the taillights look pretty decent here, but again, once they pull this tailgate in, it's going to expose those taillights and show that gap quite a bit more than it is right now. As you can see, a quick glimpse here at the bumper, the same issue that I now have on my car, that gap there at the bottom of the bumper. So haven't seen that a lot, but definitely present on this one. And with it being a white Tesla, here we are with a color match issue with the bumper not matching the rest of the car. Here's an interesting thing for those of you thinking about getting a performance model. It looks like they've finally started taping the corners of the spoiler. I don't know if this is from the factory, but this is definitely something I haven't seen in the past. And hopefully it's from the factory because this makes sense. This is forcing that piece of spoiler to be stuck to the car to allow that adhesive to better cure during the transportation of this car. And then finally, looking at the rear driver's door, it's also not flush. So this one's actually not a very great example of what we're seeing today. This is probably one of the worst ones as far as it goes, but definitely not consistent with the other cars that we're seeing today as far as the number of issues that are popping up. All right, so here's an exciting one for you. A red long-range all-wheel drive built on August 20th. It is a VIN number in the 40,000s, and it has the induction wheels. Here we are again, yet another one with this rocker panel issue with the doors. I'm not sure what's going on here, but very consistent across these deliveries. The gaps here are kind of just okay, borderline certainly. And then when we look on the passenger side of the lift gate, it's interesting because the angle here is not the same as the other side, so this lift gate's actually kind of crooked. Same door alignment issue on this side. Neither of the doors on this side actually are straight at all. You can see how that doesn't line up from back to front. Now this is by far the worst I've seen in a hood. Check out this hood. The way that this hood is set, not only do you have bad gaps, it actually almost has a dome shape. So it's actually higher than the sides, right in the middle. It's the weirdest thing. I've not seen this yet, but here it is on this particular car. Okay, and then this one's more of an honorable mention. There's no manufacturing sticker on here, but looking at it, at the inside, it doesn't look like it's delivered yet. It's only a 12,000 VIN number, but again, it's a stealth performance model. So again, you can't order these anymore. And it's interesting that it's sitting here. I haven't seen a 12,000 VIN for quite some time. So I'm curious if Tesla has built out some of these stealth performances and people have canceled those orders, and there may be a select few of these scattered throughout the country that are just sitting there waiting to be matched. If you're in the market for, or you wanted to order a stealth performance, you may give a call to Tesla and find out if you can be matched. This car that we're getting ready to look over is actually a pretty decent car. I'll show you where some of the defects are, but compared to some of the new defects that we're seeing, this is a solid car. All right, so it's a black car, of course, stealth performance with the Geminis. The door gaps on this one are very indicative of some of the earlier models where those gaps are somewhat large. These doors aren't set up just right, so these gaps are kind of larger than what we're seeing on current deliveries. Tail light, of course, same issue. The doors are straight though, so there's been some adjustment on this already done. The front gap, again, one of the early delivery issues that we saw on Tesla Model Ys. These gaps are pretty large, definitely compared to what's being delivered now. So a little bit of a adjustment there perhaps could help fix this issue. Honestly, I wish I knew what the manufacturing date on this car was, because I just can't tell if this is a recent build or not. Based on the condition of it though, I would tell you it's probably an earlier build. Probably after the shutdown, definitely after the shutdown, but definitely not recent, not in August or even a September build. So this is somewhere in the last couple of months based on what I'm looking at. The point being, those stealth performances are out there. You just gotta find them and see if you can get matched if you want them. In case you don't know, that stealth performance gets you the performance motors, and it gets you that 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, but you don't have to sacrifice a ride quality. You don't have to go to the 21-inch wheels, which are going to be a little bit more bumpy. The suspension is a lot tighter, and then those performance brakes, you lose out on those as well, but you still get those performance motors. So this may be a compelling option for some of you. They're just really hard to find. I would say after looking at these several cars that a theme is appearing here. Tesla has clearly addressed some of the early issues that we had with these Tesla deliveries, aside of course, the taillights. But with that, it seems that Tesla has now introduced some new issues, at least in the cars that I'm seeing here today. There were 20 cars here roughly, and I only selected one of each color, but that was just to give you an idea of each of them. And we're seeing manufacturing dates between mid-August to the end of August, so it's kind of a tight window. But with that said, there are some new issues that we're seeing here. I think the most obvious issue that we're now seeing that I haven't seen before is the door alignment over the rocker panel. I've not seen this in the past, and so this is suggesting something new. It's present on every one of these cars that I saw today, and again, there were roughly 20 of them. So this is a new issue. I have no idea what's causing it, and perhaps the service center is going to be able to address that before scheduling delivery. Also, we're seeing consistent door alignment issues, specifically in the back corner. Again, this isn't a major thing that can't be fixed, so that's somewhat relieving, but the service center is definitely going to have to get involved to do that. And if you're taking delivery, make them do it while you're there. Don't set an appointment and come back later. And then finally, one of the things that I've shared on this channel several times now, despite dispute, there were 7 Tesla Model Ys that were white on this lot, and every single one of them had a different color bumper than the rest of the car. Some of these still had the sticker from manufacturing, and they were all in the August build time frame, and other ones had that removed already and had lower VIN numbers. This issue has not been fixed, and I don't see when it's going to get fixed. And just to add further proof to the issue, I actually went ahead and took some footage of a Tesla Model 3 that they had there that was also white. The bumper on this Tesla Model 3 matches just fine. Also, if this was an issue with paint on aluminum versus plastic, why is it that the front bumper matches just fine and the rear doesn't? They're made of the same material. So something's really not right with how they're doing this. My assumption is that they're painting these bumpers offline or in a different batch than the rest of the car components are being painted. And I'm not sure what the issue is. At one of my service center appointments, the service center did tell me that the rear bumpers were being painted by a third party and that had been addressed. Apparently, it's either still being painted by that third party or some other issue is happening that is causing the paint color to be different on the bumpers than the rest of the car. Now on to some of the good news. There's some clear things that have been fixed from Tesla at the plant that are being passed through as you're taking delivery. First and foremost, the front corners by the headlights. I have not seen a single car here that's being delivered that had that corner sticking out. So that's been addressed. That's a good thing. The wheel well trim, we're seeing consistent results with that. On my last video, I shared with you video of wheel well trim that was flush all the way around, and that's still the case today, which is great news. Generally speaking, the panel gaps throughout the car are so much better than they originally were. So There's less to look at in panel gaps, in my opinion, on these Tesla Model Ys. These are a lot tighter throughout, and although there are some exceptions to that, I would say in general, this doesn't seem to be a consistent issue with these cars. Another one of the things that was present on most early deliveries was the frunk actually didn't line up well, or it wasn't even, or the gap was just very large. I didn't see any of that today except for that red one that had some other issue going on. Again, about those gaps, that A-pillar was tight, and again, on my car, that was the largest gap on the whole car, and there were a ton of early deliveries where I saw that gap and it was very big. So they've tightened those gaps up throughout. And then finally, the tailgate consistency is getting better. It's still not set up right from the factory, which is interesting, but it is way better than the inconsistency of what it was on the early deliveries. A lot of cars, those gaps were all over the place. Some of the lift gates were set too far back, some of the lift gates were set too far forward. There was no consistency. But quite honestly, looking at the cars I shared with you today, I would say the tailgate, plus or minus a little bit, was pretty much the same condition throughout all those cars. I really hope that this video was helpful for you. If you're getting ready to take delivery, now you have an idea of what kind of things you need to be looking out for. If you're considering ordering, now you know what to expect. Hopefully this video gives you the right insight on what current deliveries are looking like, regardless of whatever else is being thrown out there online. These are just real examples. Although they do not represent the whole, this is one service center in one state across the entire country. This is one point in time, and we will try to do another update later on in the year. But this is a really good reflection of what kind of condition these cars are being delivered in today. And with that, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel as we continue to post content regularly. We always enjoy having you here. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll catch you next time.